Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. So happy you could join us today. So we have an update for you about the Rockets and James Harden. I feel like we've always had an update for the last 2 or 3 weeks about them. We're also talking about Zion Williamson. We're getting into all of that in just a second. But first, make sure you click subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Now, here is the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Hey everybody, I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up guys? It's your girl Britt. You guys can follow me on all social media at @IamberJohnson. Happy first day of December, but most importantly, ladies, what day is it today? It's Taco Tuesday! They already had us
Oh
in
my
the chat.
God.
They already know in the chat. Everybody's excited.
I love it. That's what I like to see.
We'll have tacos tonight. I'm going to have tacos tonight. I did. Yes, I am. And I did last week. Last week I didn't know if I was going to, but I was like, oh, maybe I should, and I did. And I'm going to tonight as well.
Yes.
Maybe I will too. I always end up having tacos on a Monday for some reason, and then I regret it because I want to celebrate Taco Tuesday. But you know what? I'm going to go grocery shopping today, so maybe I'll get some taco ingredients. That sounds really good. Okay, you guys, let's talk about the Rockets. Let's get into the latest update about James Harden and how he wants to force a trade with the team. So apparently the team was not happy that he did try to force that trade to the Nets. Sports Illustrated got into all of the details, saying, quote, Houston felt the way Harden attempted to force a trade to Brooklyn was improper. That's the word they used. Houston maintains they have the leverage. Harden still wants to play in Brooklyn. It may take a while. It appears Harden wanted to pull a clutch Anthony Davis move, but he doesn't have an agent. So let's talk about this. Jackie, do you think that the Rockets have a right to be upset about James Harden trying to force this trade, or should they have expected it after the team went through so many changes in rapid succession?
I mean, they can feel however they want to feel. And then, you know, James Harden can feel however he wants to feel. But he's been with the Rockets since, 2012. And I think they haven't even been a contender for a championship since 1995. He's 31 years old. He and the owner don't agree on a lot of things. They tried to make it work. I know they brought in Russell to try to make it work. I think that could have probably worked if they had been better coached. But that whole situation was just mishandled. And so I don't think anyone should be upset with a person who's 31 years old in the NBA trying to get out of the situation that has not worked for him. So I think that, yeah, they can feel however they want to feel about it, but this is a grown man who knows exactly what he wants, and it's not going to work in that franchise, unfortunately. We see that they are falling apart. There's no signs that they're going to get it together anytime soon, so why should he be loyal to that? If his goal is to get a ring, there's no reason he should be loyal to that. So they can feel how he wants, but I think he's right to try to get out now.
Yeah, I think that it's been long enough that he's stuck with the team. He's stayed loyal. He's, hoped for a ring, hoped to be a contender each year. And each year that kind of falls flat. And now with so many different things happening, I can understand why anybody would feel hesitant about sticking around if they can manage to leave. Britt, can you blame James for wanting to leave and start over fresh? Or do you feel he owes it to Houston to stick around for at least another season?
The only person in the league that owes anybody anything is John Wall, because he's been getting paid for not doing a darn thing. But I don't think anybody else owes any team, or vice versa, or a team owes a player anything. He is, like Jackie said, he's 31 years old, and he's had moments of real greatness in 2008 when he won NBA MVP. I think either that same year or the year before is when the Houston Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni won Coach of the Year. So it's like they've had these pieces of like, we're having some of the greatest coaching or the greatest player on a team, but we still can't even get it done. We can't get to a Western Conference Finals. We can't do all of this, that, and the third. So it is at a point, and especially how much they imploded, obviously, this offseason. It's at a point where it's like, okay, well, I've done what I can do. We've tried to get different pieces in here. Nothing has seemed to work out. Maybe I need to go somewhere else and try it wherever else I need to go and figure it out there, this, that, and the third. And obviously he wants to go to the Brooklyn Nets because with you know, Kyrie and Kevin Durant coming back and, you know, what's going on over there and stuff like that, it seems like a perfect fit for him. And he feels like he could get his time and do what he needs to do to possibly win a ring, because like Jackie has talked about more than one occasion, there are more times where he should have won an NBA MVP. And so not only is he not winning these NBA MVPs on years where a lot of people predicted him as the winner, he's also he hasn't won a championship in his career. So at 31 is when you start making those moves to do what you do. I feel like he's proven that he's been loyal, he's worked hard and figured out whatever he can figure out in Houston, and now it's time to move on.
Yeah,
Yep,
sure.
I'm with you. I'd like to see him move on as well, so we'll see what happens. Their Rockets are obviously not making it easy, but let's get into the Pelicans and Zion Williamson. So we all know Zion's rookie season was quite the disappointment. He went into his first season in the NBA with so much hype around him. People had such high expectations because of how he performed in college and in high school. I mean, he's just a great athlete. But then obviously he was injured, and that kept him out for the majority of the season. But now the New Orleans Pelicans think that the real Zion Williamson is about to come out. They're hoping that they're going to have a healthier Zion on their lineup as they go into the upcoming season. The Pelicans GM, David Griffin, is hoping to finally take advantage of Zion's true potential. He said, quote, "Once he gets to the point where he's healthy enough to play his game, play with the ball more, play more as a slasher, and less as a post-up presence, I think you're going to see the real Zion come to the floor. I think it's hard to identify the things he needs to make the most improvement on other than his availability. We're going to need to keep him healthy and let him grow as a player. If he can stay healthy, I think he and Brandon Ingram are going to do really well together, but there have been some things that Zion has needed to do to make sure that he is healthy, like lose some weight." So, Britt, do you think that Zion is capable of making a comeback, and do you feel that he's done the necessary work to make sure that he stays healthy for the season?
I honestly wouldn't even call it a comeback because he hasn't played in the league yet like that. So it's not like he's been this great player and then he fell from that and then he's trying to become that again. I think he was a rookie last year and he's going into his sophomore season. And honestly, everybody knew as a rookie, he ended his career with Duke with an injury. So everybody knew he was going to be injured the first half of the season. Like, Pelicans fans didn't even want to buy season tickets yet because they knew they weren't going to get to watch him play the first half of the season. The Pelicans are one team, I will say, did a very good job in letting Zion heal. They did not rush him back onto the court at all. They let him heal, took the L's on the season tickets and all that kind of stuff because they didn't want to, even though there were doctors that actually came out and said Zion was fine, they didn't want to push it. And they let him heal, they let him develop and stuff like that, and then slowly started bringing him back into the lineup at the end of January, which I think was great. I think it was so smart for them to do that, and especially because they are a young team and they realize they are a young team and they want to keep all those pieces of the puzzle together, which I think is why Brandon Ingram decided to sign that contract to stay there, because he knows that this team, this city, this whatever is focused on the rebuild. They're not trying to push it. They're not trying to make anything happen overnight. The only issue with Zion is Zion, and that is going to be like if he wants to stay healthy, if he wants to, get a nutritionist or whatever he needs to do himself to focus on, like, staying in shape and whatever. But I don't think any of that is on the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans have been doing everything possible and not pushing him and not saying, okay, Zion has to come back this date. Zion has to do this at this time. I think they're letting him, figure it out. I think maybe he needs a little push here and there from a person like a nutritionist or somebody like that, but I think it's good that the team isn't the one that's pushing him in this thing. So if he does take everybody's word, because everybody has been saying it now, and I know he has a phone and he looks at social media and he hears these things. So if he's actually taking this stuff to heart and understands what it can mean for his future, and that being, is he going to be a great player or not, I think hopefully he's listening and hopefully he makes those changes. But I do want to commend the Pelicans for not really pushing him. to be back on the court. They've been able to figure it out without him. They actually were playing well in January, early January, before Zion even came back onto the court. So I think he's going to be okay. It's just he's young, and I think we need to let him develop it and let this happen. He's 19 years old. Let him figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, and like you said, the Pelicans were very patient with him when he was recovering from their injury, and if his own team can be that patient and understanding, the fans should be too. I know everybody was excited to see Zion get back on the court. Everyone was excited to see how he does in the NBA, and we didn't really get that moment that we were all hoping for. I just wanted to read a funny comment in here. I think it was Julius wrote, they have to tell him no to food, which is such a sad and funny thing to say. He has to stay away from the beignets and all the other good food down in New Orleans, I guess.
Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans got some good food.
New Orleans is not the place to be.
Yep.
You got to quarantine your whole career in New Orleans because that food down there will get you for sure.
Yeah. Yes. So I understand. We sympathize, Zion. We get it. Okay, Jackie, I wanted to ask you, can you think of any other athletes who had a rough rookie year like Zion but ended up thriving in their career or even in their sophomore season?
I can't think of a rookie that had a rough year specifically like Zion because, like Britt said, a lot of what Zion went through was because of Zion. But, you know, Uncle Reggie Miller, he had a terrible first season. He only scored 10 points his first season. And then 2 years later, he doubled that. And now he's a legend. Our former point guard, Rajon Rondo, when he was drafted to the Celtics, he had a horrible season. I think he only averaged something like 6 points, you know, that first year, and nobody thought he was going to end up being good. And then now you fast forward, I actually don't think the Lakers could have succeeded the way that they did, and I think we were all worried when Rajon went out. So he has definitely established a name for himself, so much so that we were crossing our fingers that he would stay with the Lakers, but then he ended up going somewhere else because he is someone people see value in. He has proven who he is on the basketball court. His basketball IQ is crazy, but with both of these dudes, they both will tell you that after that rookie season, they got back in the gym. They did things to increase their play and to get better in different areas, Reggie specifically in the three-point shot. So that's a little, I don't want to say it's easier, but when you can look at your game and say, I'm lacking in this area. Shaq did the same thing. Shaq couldn't hit a free throw to save his life, and then all of a sudden he just started concentrating on that. And then like he said, when it counted, he would hit them. But those are things you can literally just spend time in the gym and just do it. We've talked about that several times on this show. Doctors will tell them, hey, if you keep living this way, you're going to die. And then they'll just like, oh, one more drink. Or, you know, diabetes isn't that bad. I could just take a shot for it. This isn't about his game so much as it's about changing his mindset. He's going to have to change his mindset in order to succeed. Like Britt said, he's 19. He has plenty of time. But I think as fans, as that organization, they kind of need him to look at himself in the mirror and say, I do live in New Orleans. This food is good as hell down here. I love to eat. I can't really eat like that right now because he doesn't have the metabolism that's going to support it. If he was like me, he could eat whatever he wants. That's one thing. But not everybody has that, Zion. You got to figure your life out. So I think it's entirely up to him. It's not just about him getting in the gym, but I'm totally confident that 5 years from now, we're going to be looking at a more ripped Zion who is dominating in New Orleans. I'm totally sure of that.
Yeah, well, it's not unheard of. We've seen several NBA athletes just in this off season and in this quarantine time alone have these like glow ups. You know, Steph Curry is suddenly bulky. Bronny, you talked about it yesterday, Jackie, is huge. Who was that one guy that? What?
I'm still mad at Bronny. You ain't supposed to be looking like a grown man out here. It's too soon. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready.
I know. He's not even legally an adult yet, but he looks older than all of us.
Right.
But yeah, so it's definitely possible, but you're totally right. It has to be on Zion. He has to want it badly enough to make the necessary changes to get where he needs to be. And I think personally that he's going to be motivated enough to do it. I see a lot of people in the chat are saying that they think he's going to bounce back as well. So, we'll see. Good luck to Zion. But on that note, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes. It's time for Post Up No Tacos in New Orleans, Zion. You got to watch your weight edition. So let's just get right into this first one, because we've seen a lot of city jerseys. Some of them we've liked, some of them we've thought were trash. The Clippers have released their city jersey. I kind of like it, but first and foremost, I want to talk about this, how they posted this, because I don't know if y'all can see it because it is kind of small, but it says running it back in black. I have a problem with this because what are y'all running back? Y'all didn't win anything. It should say doing it over in black, better luck next time in black. I don't like them saying running it back in black. No shade. I'm just saying don't run that back.
I'll
That's
tell you
the
why
last
I
thing
didn't
you
run
want to
it
run
back.
back. Okay.
When you done,
Well,
I'll
let's
tell you
look at
why.
the video. They did a whole full-on production to release. This is the best release of a city jersey by far because they made a whole production out of it. So I just want to show you guys that really quick and then watch Kawhi's reaction to the jersey. It's hilarious.
When it came to the city edition, we had to stay true to LA. Or what? We linked up with the city's finest to share their side of LA culture. The grit, toughness, and perseverance. And when we finally had it in our hands, we showed PG. We liked them so much that he said,
I gotta show KAWHI. I mean, it's all right. I'm just
this jersey for all the doers in our city, striving to be great. The makers, creators, and those who will leave their mark on LA. From your side to my side, this West Side and all that.
Whatever I think about the original, I love this whole production. This is the first full-on production I've seen for one of these city jerseys, so I'm digging it. But Britt says she has an explanation on what they're trying to run back. So, Britt, because the chat wants to know too, what they running back.
They're running back the dang jersey. I am a Clippers fan. That is the exact jersey we had last season, but in black. Last year, we did the exact same jersey in white. And this year we did the jersey, but in black. So I actually do have a problem with it because I'm like, y'all didn't want to take the time to create a new jersey. You guys just did the white jersey, but switched it and put it into black. That's why it says running it back in black, because it's the same jersey from last year, but instead of doing a white jersey, they're doing a black jersey. But I feel like that's kind of lazy a little bit. Like, I liked the jersey last year, so obviously I still like the jersey, but it's kind of lazy. Like, we're in Los Angeles, the city of creatives. There's so many creative people. The video itself, you spent so much time creating this dope video, but you didn't want to spend time designing a new jersey. I don't know. Like, I'll give it to you guys. We had a short, restart to the season again, and you guys, instead of, taking the chance, which a lot of teams did, and made a crappy jersey because they had a short span of time to create something, you guys just said, hey, everyone liked the one last year, so let's just do it again, but let's just make it black instead of white. So that is why they said running it back in black, because they just used the exact same jersey, which is a little lazy, but it's still a good jersey. So you get half credit, but as a Clippers fan, I need you guys to be a little more creative than using the same jersey but just changing the color and then doing a whole slogan. Like, you guys meant to do that and meant to make it a thing. Like, no.
All right, well, that explanation is definitely better than the running back that I thought they meant and everybody in the chat thought they meant. I was like, no, do not run that back. But the Miami Heat released theirs as well, and they say theirs are fit for the future. This one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I just don't know how I feel about it. The fans are not sure how they feel about it either, because they, of course, took to Twitter. Tyler, with the lights in the back of it and the jersey, I like it. But that's not going to happen on an actual court. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about those colors, and neither do the Twitter fans. This guy says those are low-key ass. And then this one, honestly, I'm not sure what to think. The expectations are so high right now that it ain't fair. And then I was like, but it looks so familiar to me. And then somebody posted this. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's one of those fruit or pudding things. That makes a little more sense to me. Go-Gurts, that's what it is. I'm just like, again, with the whole production and the lights behind it, I like it. Britt, I'm going to go to you because you were pretty critical of your own team. And then, Devin, I'm going to come to you. But what do you think about this Miami Heat?
So the comment that said the expectations are so high, yes, because last year Miami had the dopest city jerseys. They usually always have the dopest city jerseys, but their ones from last year were particularly amazing with like just the outline with the black with like the pink and the blue around it. They were so dope, and everybody loved them. Like I was about to buy a Miami Heat jersey, and I'm not even a fan, and I don't really like people that just wear jerseys just to be wearing them. Like you wear your team and that's it, maybe your favorite player and that's it. But I was about to buy a jersey because they were so dope. So it is hard to, you know, live up. It's just like after Usher Confessions. Like, what is Usher supposed to do after he writes the album Confessions? Like, you know, it's like the best album ever.
You're gonna
like,
get the high five on that one. I've been struggling with
that's
Usher
how I feel
ever
about
since.
Miami's jerseys. Yeah.
So facts. Devin, what do you think about the jersey? Is it go-get or is it of the future?
I have an unpopular opinion. I actually like the jerseys. I think they look pretty cool. I like the what would it be, an ombre or a fade of all the colors. Yes, it does look like Trix yogurt, but I think it's cool. I don't know why this jersey is getting so much hate. I think that there are a lot of other jerseys that we've seen that deserve a lot more dragging than this one does. I think it's cool. I don't hate it at all.
All right. Well, I don't hate it. I'm just not, again, I think what I see in it is the full production. And I just don't think that full production is going to translate. But we'll see. Let's get into this next one, because this next one bothers me just a touch, because I am convinced here in America we're never going to get over the pandemic, and we're never going to get over it because people don't listen. They don't do what they're supposed to do, which means the government's going to make this vaccine mandatory, which means I'm going to have to go into hiding because I'm not taking it. So can y'all please do better? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Cue Bubba, as you probably know him, Otto Porter from the Chicago Bulls. I'm not playing the sound on this because obviously there's music, but this is in the middle of a pandemic, so let's just go mouth to mouth with a freaking wine bottle, champagne bottle, whatever. Nobody's wearing any mask. This is literally happening in the middle of a pandemic, and I just have no words. First of all, that's gross, just no matter what.
Yeah, didn't Chicago just announce 1 in 4 people in Chicago have COVID right now? Like, my God, you play for that. This is why Chicago.
They did, and this is just so. I don't know. And you don't, ladies, you don't have to be that thirsty. You don't have to put your mouth around something just because a baller hands it to you. That's number one. Number two, can y'all just be a little bit more safe with your life? Devin, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say it always surprises me when people go out and go to these parties and then they post about it. Like there's just absolutely no shame. There's no discretion. They're just proudly sharing that they went out and raged and shared the same bottle of champagne, which, yeah, I wouldn't do that even in a non-pandemic. Gross. People have cold sores and germs, and I'm too much of a germaphobe to ever do that. But, yeah, I just feel like it's always surprising when they share it. Like, come on, that's such party, but don't post about it.
Yeah, he literally has a friend walking through wherever he's at with him so he can get out. That's just dumb. But Bulls Gold actually posted this video. Their caption was, "During a pandemic, Otto Porter has decided to do stuff like this. Bulls fans should have very low expectations from him again this coming season," which, I mean, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair statement, but there seemed to be no real disgust about what he did. People kind of had no problem with it. This first person said, "Man, you tweaking. He living life as long as an organization doesn't have anything to say about it, then who are you? Plus, he living like a rock star lifestyle, Dennis Rodman 2.0. And then this next person says, "In fairness to Otto and my general observation of 20-something behavior during this pandemic, I highly doubt he's the only one acting so irresponsibly. So he's just the one foolish enough to get caught on camera doing it," which is what Devin said. But I just think, regardless of, again, I said this yesterday, regardless of what you feel about the pandemic, I do feel like if you really want to play, you have an obligation to your team to make sure you're following certain protocols so you can be healthy or not be in quarantine or something like that because you've been out here doing something stupid. But that's just me.
Jackie, I got a question.
Go ahead.
I got a question. Did I miss something? Does Otto Porter Jr. have 5 NBA titles and 2 NBA Defensive Player of the Year awards like Dennis Rodman? No. You are not a rock star, number one, my guy. So don't ever compare Otto Porter Jr. to my Dennis Rodman. Don't do it. Don't ever do
I was like, no, he doesn't. First of all, half the people right now is probably looking him up like Otto, you know what I mean? Because it's not a name that you hear that often. He was on Shaqtin' a Fool a couple of times, so maybe you guys know him from that. But, nonetheless, I definitely do better, guys. This is ridiculous.
No.
Yeah, Dennis, they give him time off because of what he does on the court, so he probably could get away with this. Otto, you're not that guy. So fun fact. All right, so now let's move on to my favorite topic, which is LeBron James. You guys know he never forgets what happens on the court. We've seen him recite with eerie precision a play that happened like years ago, not to mention something that happened just recently. But he also seems to know exactly what's happening with his players on the court. He recently did an interview with Spectrum Sportsnet, and he hinted that Pau Gasol and Marc Gasol might be on the Lakers together before it's all said and done. I'm just throwing it out there. You guys can go watch the whole interview for yourself. But he also let us know where his Defensive Player of the Year trophy is. I actually love this, but why wouldn't I?
We'll see.
We'll see.
So, happy to have Marc, another champion.
Yeah.
One with the Raptors 2 years ago, who I've always loved. Yeah. Marc has my Defensive Player of the Year trophy at his house. But
Joe,
but that's no here nor there.
No.
I love that. He also went on to say that he's excited to compete with Wesley Matthews, who his father was a former Laker. I can't say I immediately knew that. He also says he's excited to play with Trez, and he said that he actually went knocking on Trez's door and be like, yo, are you happy over here? Which I thought was hilarious. And he said he's given Dennis Schroeder a new nickname of Dennis the Menace. The whole interview was really fun. He seems super excited about his current squad and really happy and just kind of saying they're gelling well together. It's a dope crew. I love this because you guys know I go on and on and on about the need for really good chemistry when it comes to your teammates. So my fellow Laker fan, Devin, how good does it make you feel to see a kind of relaxed LeBron, number one? He didn't look stressed at all. And a LeBron that looks super excited about his current squad. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel so excited and so optimistic about the upcoming season. LeBron needed this time off. We've been talking about how having this off season cut in half isn't giving him the time to relax and recover that he's used to. It's not giving anybody that time, but LeBron is one person that really prioritizes all of that. So it's good to see him looking kind of mellow, seeming happy and excited. So even though he does have less time to relax, I think he's getting in everything that he needs to do to be ready to go for the upcoming season, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and it makes it a little easier to come back so quick when you're excited about your squad, too. So I'm happy for him. I'm a little giddy. I got my LeBron cup. This is a bootleg cup, but that's another story for another day. But let's move on to this next one. So I know you guys all remember Megatron, or you at least have heard stories about Megatron, a.k.a. Calvin Johnson. I can tell you right now that nobody probably misses him more than Matthew Stafford, because we really haven't had a lot to say about the Lions since Megatron retired in 2015. But I think if somebody walks up to you and they compare you to Megatron, that's a dope compliment no matter how you slice it. It's dope as hell. But DK Metcalf might have taken it a little differently. So I want you to hear what he had to say when someone compared him to Megatron.
Like coming home, a place that had a chance to draft me, but, they didn't. So, I got to make them pay. I still got work to do. One of the defensive coaches came up to me, and it kind of made me mad that he was like, I was in Detroit with Megatron, but you're not there yet. In my mind, I'm not trying to be Megatron. I'm trying to be me. So, had a little chip on my shoulder the whole game.
Was that Jim?
Actually really love this. It was Jim Schwartz who compared him to Megatron. I loved what he said, that, he's not trying to be Megatron, he's trying to be me. I love that. That's what you should always do. But nonetheless, I still think it's super dope that you were compared to somebody like that, because that's just a testament to who you are. Calvin was 6'5". DK Metcalf, I think, is like 6'4". So they have similar builds. And I would probably agree with Jim Schwartz that he's not at that Megatron level, but I'm not mad at anybody who says that he is, because I don't recall, I could be wrong, but I don't ever recall seeing Megatron have to become a defensive player and run somebody down at the speed that DK Metcalf did. So I actually loved this about DK Metcalf, specifically him saying he just gonna be him, because him is doing everything just fine. I don't know if you guys saw last night's game against the Eagles, but he was basically having his way on the field, specifically with Darius Slay. He was targeted 13 times. He pulled in 10 for 177 yards. So there's no question that Slay just wasn't able to deal with them very well. So I love this reporter's question, but the way that Slay commented back is kind of funny to me.
Hey, Slay, was there any discussions on the sideline by you or anybody that you know of to possibly get you some more help as Metcalf kept having that big game?
Hell no, I don't need no help. What kind of question is that? Next one.
So, Britt, I got to go to you because this is definitely funny. But my guy needed some help, though. DK was doing whatever he wanted. What?
Sometimes people don't understand their full capabilities and they don't understand other people's full capabilities. And to be very clear, DK is like the next Black Panther. Like he is like this insane superhero, insanely like super. We did the video a couple weeks ago about him, or when he got the ball and he literally ran after the ball was picked off down the field like in 2 seconds to catch up and tackle. Like he's just out of this world insane. So I get you, my guy. Like you got to feel confident in what you do and stuff like that. But everybody has limitations, especially when you're going against another robot like DK Metcalf. Right. Like that is why Megatron was Megatron, because he is on another level, and that's why he was compared to Calvin Johnson because of that situation, because he is a robot as well. And you know, man versus robot, a lot of times the robot's gonna win, my guy. That's all I'm saying.
Seriously, I like what you said, that he's the next Black Panther. They're still looking for a new Black Panther to replace the late, great Chadwick Boseman. I don't know if he's got any acting skills, but he definitely has the talent body-wise, and he could probably land some of them superhero landings. So I'd be with it. That'd be actually pretty dope to see an NFL player play a mega role like that. The Rock
turned into an amazing superhero after playing football.
So if that happens, y'all gonna owe the Fumble 5%. Y'all keep taking these ideas that we produce on the show and not giving us no money. I'm just saying. All right, so we know that the mama bear is always going to defend her cubs no matter what. But for me personally, this one is a little too much. We talked about this yesterday, that Denver was left without any quarterbacks on Sunday because Drew Lock, Brett Rippon, and Blake Bortles all decided not to abide by the NFL protocols, and they hung out without wearing a mask with Jeff Driscoll, who did test positive for COVID. I gave them the business. My Saints gave them the business. Pretty much every sports show on the planet gave the Denver Broncos the business and these three men for not following protocols, which has pissed off Mama Locke. Laura Locke decided to take to Twitter, and she actually posted that. She wrote this up in notes and then screenshotted it and posted it to her Twitter. This is insanely long to me. I'm pretty sure you could have got this done in 150 characters. I don't think you really had to write this full-on dissertation, but she did. So I'm just going to summarize it for you. She basically said, "Shame on you for speaking of others in damning ways. This is a group of 4 men that had tested negative that day and are with their people. By the way, Drew Lock doesn't have COVID." And then finally she says, "As a parent, an educator, a friend, a coworker, a boss, using people to make an example of a situation is wrong. The NFL used one of their own as an example, and this is where the shame is." You guys know I could not possibly disagree with this woman more. I get it. You're mama bear. People got your son's name all in their mouth saying whatever they want to say about him. I get that you want to jump to his defense, but Adam Schefter said it best on his show. He said it's about containment. The NFL thought that, hey, these are these 3 guys, to her point, that they did not test positive, but these are these 3 guys who basically acted irresponsibly. We have this virus contained. It's not like it's spreading throughout other players like we've seen with Baltimore or the Titans. So they felt like they had it contained, so they weren't going to give them a pass, and they made them play. Britt talked about that yesterday, like, why not postpone the game? Even if it wasn't about containment, I am 100% on the side of the NFL, and I never fall on the side of the NFL with their rules and stuff. But in this case, I am. It's basic math, guys. If you want to play, follow the protocols. I'm absolutely with it. Britt, what did you think about, and Devin, I'm going to ask you the same question. What did you think about Mama Bear doing this whole long dissertation? Did she even have to jump to her son's defense? Was this even necessary?
What do we like to say on this show a lot? Say less. This was a say less moment. You were right when you said she could have done this in 150 characters or less. That is absolutely true, because we all did say more about her son. So I get it if you want to say something back to everybody, because everybody was talking about it. But you didn't have to write this whole thing. Unfortunately,
Right.
like, nobody cares what your opinion is. We know that's your son. You're going to like stick up for him regardless, you know, and you should. That's your kid, but maybe you should also go talk to your kid, because how I was growing up, my mama didn't always think I was right. If I did something wrong, she would slap me upside the head and tell me about myself. So maybe, mama, you need to tell your son about himself. I'm just saying that.
Right? Preach. Preacher Britt is in the house. Devin, what do you think?
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
You know, I think this is one of the rare times on this channel I'm actually going to sit here and say that she should have said less, because this was just way too long, way too convoluted, too many words. Nobody cares what she thinks. Yes, I agree with Britt. You want to come to your kid's defense, especially when, you know, his name is being dragged through the mud and criticized and all of that. But first of all, he's a grown man. He can defend himself. Second of all, I just feel like it makes the whole situation weird for her to go and post this essay and say all of this stuff. I don't know. It's not even that accurate. So I think that she definitely should have said less. This is one of the times I'll say it was a say less moment.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. You could tell, like, she actually spell checked it. She made the paragraphs, like, the transitions. Like, she actually went back and checked this a couple times. Girl, bye. I get it, you mom, but this is just too much. Too much. Sorry, Mama Bear. Just go give your son a hug, and while you're hugging him, put his mask on. Everything will be fine. All right, so now let's get into this LeBron James one again. True LeBron James fans know this guy. I don't know his last name because I call him Clay J, because he's a clay artist. He has made a clay figure of LeBron every single time he's won a championship. He's doing that again. It's actually really, really awesome. I love to see him. This video is really long, so obviously we're just going to show you this. This is when he makes his head, and this is when he's making the shoes. That's kind of weird, but whatever, because, you know, the legs and stuff. But his work is amazing, and seeing him do this and like go through and how he makes the jerseys and how he does the lettering, it's super detailed. It's super amazing to see. My only problem with this, every single time he does this, is not this. Why is LeBron James' head always so damn big? Like, you can't make it a little bit more proportion? I mean, if everything is so accurate and you claim... It's not, though. It's a clay art. It doesn't bobble. If it bobbled, I would be okay with it. But it doesn't bobble. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my LeBron fandom coming out. Devin, am I tripping? I think he can make the head smaller.
I think he could make the head smaller, and I think it would look better if he did. But I think the whole goal of these little clay, what would you call it? Like, not a statue, but these little clay things, clay molds, is that it's supposed to sort of... A figurine, that's the word. It's supposed to look kind of like a caricature, so I think that's why his head is so big. It's supposed to be kind of like unrealistic and look like a piece of art, but I don't know. I do think the head is really big.
I mean, he was unrealistic. The hairline was flawless, and you know I love me some LeBron, but LeBron's hairline is not flawless. You could have just left it at that. You didn't have to give him this astronomically big head. That is just... I don't like it. I like you, Clay. I do, but I don't like it. Unless it bobbles. If it was a true bobblehead, I'd be with it. But it's not. So that's all I got for the post up. But as usual, before I get out of here, I'm going to tell you really quick what we're not going to do, because this one is hilarious. This one's going to be a good laugh, so make sure you're ready. So if you guys love football, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do, I'm sure you guys know the Honey Badger. You guys know him very well. TYRANN MATHIEU, he is definitely one of the best safeties in the league. He's fun to watch. He's hilarious. I remember when Deion Sanders interviewed him when he got drafted, and he asked him why he took the name the Honey Badger, and then he kind of equated it to, I think you guys all remember that video that came out where it says Honey Badger don't care, Honey Badger don't give a shiznit. It was one of those nature videos. I thought it was hilarious. But that does perfectly describe Tyrann Mathieu, he doesn't really care. He goes out there. He does amazingly well. The Chiefs picked him up as a free agent in 2019. And then Andy Reid, one of the first things he said was, hey, we're just going to open the cage and release the honey badger, which I thought was great because that just kind of meant that they were taking him as he was. They loved him as he was, and they wanted him to do his thing. And Patrick Mahomes said he was a great leader. He was a natural-born leader to DeAndre Baker. And I think he's kind of gotten away from his honey badger ways a little bit more. He's a little bit more mature now. He is a mentor now. But I think he might have had that moment where he was like, oh no, I'm definitely the honey badger, because if you guys saw, the Chiefs beat Tom Brady and company by just 3 points on Sunday, but it really should have been a lot more. The Chiefs offense did kind of fall flat, especially in the fourth quarter, because they didn't score at all, and they gave Tom Brady time to come back, and it looked like Tom Brady was going to make a run for it. But thanks to the Chiefs defense, including I think it was 2 interceptions by the honey badger, they were able to hold on and win. So then here comes this random fan named Jeremy Sickle. He actually had a perfect assessment of the game. He said the Chiefs are only winning by 10 and Tampa is driving. Regardless if they win, this isn't a great performance overall. Should be a curb stomping Brady and co right now. He's absolutely right. It should have been a curb stomping, but the Chiefs were not able to score on offense when the defense was getting out there doing stuff. So the honey badger decides to respond to this, and he says, shut up, stupid. We just played against 5 future Hall of Famers and a top 5 defense. Go to bed and hug your pillow. So that had me laughing. First of all, the Bucs only have the number 7 defense. They're not top 5, but, you know, good try. I see what he was trying to do. But this is just hilarious clapback to me. And then Jeremy took the high road, and he tried to explain himself again, and he was like, well, the difference between the first half offense and the second half offense is very concerning. Also true. Honey Badger says, shut up, bitch. And so to me, this is just hilarious, because I'm like, whoa, my guy, is all of that really necessary? And then Jeremy comes back with this. This is a donation of $50 to his donation, to the Honey Badger's donation. He donated $50, at which point Matthew, he deleted all the tweets where he told him to shut up. If you can go look at his Twitter right now, you're not going to see none of these tweets, because he deleted them all right after my guy posted this tweet of him donating $50 to his website. Now, to be his fair, his website says the foundation is to impact the lives of financially disadvantaged children and youth through encouragement and opportunities and resources to achieve their dreams in Kansas City and his hometown of New Orleans. So I get it. To be fair, every penny counts with that. But what we're not going to do is pull it back for $50. That just seems like you could have said, thank you, like, I appreciate you. What we're not going to do is pull it back for $50. And what we're not going to do is sleep on the classy pettiness from Jeremy that was like, okay, you talking all this stuff, you calling me out my name, telling me to go hug my pillow, I'm going to donate to you anyway. What we're not going to do is miss this opportunity to give Jeremy a clap for this classy pettiness. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was hilarious. Devin, I'm going to come to you first, because I actually want to hear your opinion on, first of all, how the Honey Badger reacted to this criticism from this random fan. Is that a little extra, is a little over the top?
It's definitely extra, but look, we all had fun reading it. We all had fun seeing what was going down. But yeah, the reaction was way too big, especially for just like a Twitter exchange. But then I have to. Exactly. I have to applaud that guy, though, for sending in that donation. That is the best way to, like, stick it to somebody. I absolutely love that. If only whenever all of my trolls DM'd me, if they went and donated to an organization of my choice, like, I would welcome the hate. I would welcome it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Britt, I know you're petty adjacent, but has Jeremy really embraced what petty adjacent truly means? Because that was stellar to me.
This was great. This is the movement I'm trying to bring to you guys. This kind of movement where you do petty by doing kind things. You be kind to people, and then you just like slap them in the face with your kindness. This was so great, and I was just like, see, he must watch the Fumble, and he must be learning about my journey to be petty adjacent, and he decided to do the same thing. And I applaud you, my guy. That was great. I loved it. Loved every piece
Well
of it.
played. Well played. I did love seeing little glimpses of the honey badger again, but Jeremy, you definitely win this one. So now let me get my girl Devin up here because once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. You don't have your mic, so this is going to be fun.
I know.
It's time for Brit's Takes.
Brit's Takes.
All right, guys, it is time for Brit's Take, and today I am going to just have this moment to talk about my GOAT, the love of my life, Mr. Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan actually just announced yesterday that he was donating $2 million to feedamerica.org to help with COVID relief, and then he is also going to be donating his entire Last Dance paycheck, which we learned about a month or two ago, which is about $3 to $4 million to mentorship organizations around the country. And then he also announced about a month ago that he was donating, or maybe 2 months ago now, time just flies by, $100 million over 10 years for racial equality organizations. Now, we know the NFL and the NBA have decided to do similar things. The NBA is doing $100 million and the NFL is doing $250 million. But this is a person. This is a one person, Michael Jordan, donating $100 million over the next 10 years to racial equality organizations himself. So a lot of times we've talked in The Last Dance, we've talked about this, that, and the third, like, oh, well, Michael Jordan's like a jerk and he's not a nice person and he never helped anybody, blah, blah, blah. And so what is this Michael Jordan that we're just hearing about now that has been so charitable this year? Well, I don't think it's anything new. I do want to point out that the difference between Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan played, and the athletes we see now is the money. So Michael Jordan, his whole entire career, made $90 million, his whole career in the NBA. That's literally what guys are getting for like 3 and 4 year contracts right now. And they're getting multiple of those throughout their career. Plus, they're getting insanely huge endorsement signings. When Michael Jordan first signed with Nike, I think it was like a $2 million deal or whatever for an allotment of time. And then he ended up creating Jordan Brand. And obviously, most of that money that he got from Jordan Brand happened in the latter part of his career. And then after his career, I just think my guy just hadn't secured the bag yet. We talked about Scottie Pippen having that $17 million contract for 7 years and all this kind of stuff. Jordan hadn't made that much money during his NBA career when he was a young player that we're seeing players make now. So we're comparing what people are doing now, like what people are doing in their careers, and we know like Tobias Harris and Steph Curry and LeBron and all these guys are donating and doing so much while they're actively playing in the league. And back then we didn't really see a lot of players doing that, but they also weren't making that kind of money. Michael Jordan didn't just start donating money this year. I actually looked back at his little history of donations, which was literally miles and miles long. And one of his first really huge donations that he did was he donated his whole entire 2001 and 2002 NBA salary, which he was playing for the Wizards at the time, to 9/11 related charities. So his whole salary for both years, which we talked about even this year, we were like, why aren't NBA players, stepping up and donating their salary? They were all crying about the fact that they were going to get paid a little bit less than they normally did. Yet Michael Jordan, who wasn't making as much as NBA players are now, donated his entire salary for 2 years for 9/11 relief and for the victims and for any related charities that had to do with 9/11. And obviously that was back 20 years ago, but yet people don't talk about that with Michael Jordan. We just want to talk about how much Michael Jordan's a dick and how he's this, that, and the third, and he's not a nice guy. Well, he also just 2 years ago donated $7 million to fund 2 family clinics in Charlotte, which actually opened up this year in 2020. Nobody really covered it. And it actually has been huge with helping with COVID relief and, having, families getting to go there and getting free testing and all that kind of stuff in the Charlotte area. And he's the one that funded these 2 clinics. 2016, he donated $5 million to the Smithsonian National Museum for African American History. And his donation and then Oprah Winfrey's donation were the biggest donations that the Smithsonian received. And they were trying to do that to make sure they pushed the opening because a lot of funding was not going towards the African American History Museum, because we know that that is actually a newer part of the museum that hasn't always been there. But with Oprah and with Michael Jordan's donation, they were able to open that a lot sooner. I got to see it when it first opened in 2016, actually, that July, I think. And so he was huge in making that thing a reality. His golf invitational, which he's been doing since 2001, he's actually raised over $8 million for the Ronald McDonald Houses, as well as another organization called Opportunity Village, which helps with, different minority groups and bringing opportunities to them in low income areas and stuff like that. He's done like so many different things, and I hate that like he gets this thing that he's just like not a helpful guy. Even in the Last Dance, that campaign of that Black senator that was trying to run, and they wanted Michael Jordan to publicly endorse him, and Michael Jordan didn't, but he still donated all this money to his campaign and stuff like that. So this is a what we're not going to do moment. We are not going to diss Michael Jordan, because I believe, and I think everyone should believe, we have different love languages. People love differently. Michael Jordan can be like, this big crap talker and like a dick and whatever, but he really is like a giving person. And he is not just now, not just, back in the day. He has always been a very giving person. And it literally shows. You can literally look at his stuff, and a lot of the stuff he doesn't promote, he doesn't even talk about. Like, we have not covered any of that. We didn't even talk about when Michael Jordan we talked about when the NBA and when the NFL decided that they were going to donate money for racial equality. But Michael Jordan himself, even though we have this whole league of all these really insanely rich owners, and Michael Jordan decides to do this himself. And these are all Michael Jordan's personal donations. These don't even include the donations that he has decided to do with his ownership in Charlotte and different things that he owns and different like his Michael Jordan fundraiser stuff that he does with his camps and all that kind of stuff. This is not that money at all. This is just money that he's personally donated out of his own pocket. So I love you, Michael Jordan. I see you, my guy. I think it's great in what you're doing. And I think we really need to take a look at the stuff that's going on in different times. He just didn't secure the bag yet. So he was, making sure he got his money together. And then now he's being very generous with it and donating it, including sending me some Jordan 11s in the mail for Christmas. Thank you, Jordan. But did you guys know that Michael Jordan was even doing a lot of this stuff? I feel like he doesn't really promote or advertise any of this. Are you guys surprised at all to hear that he's been very charitable, especially this last year?
Go ahead, Jackie.
No, Mike, go you first.
I personally am not surprised by this at all. I think that actually a lot of celebrities and a lot of athletes who have a ton of money, I think that they donate a lot more than they realize. I am frustrated with how our culture and our society has changed in a way that we have to advertise when we donate. It has to be made public. It has to be posted on social media, because whenever I see that kind of thing, I always feel like it means less. It feels like you're doing it for the accolades and for the praise. So I'm not surprised that Michael Jordan has been donating under the radar, but he, isn't advertising about it, which I think is commendable. I really respect him for doing that, and I think it's awesome that he's continuing to spread the wealth.
Yeah, I knew about Michael Jordan's charitable donations because, I'm not a Michael Jordan fan, so several people have made it a point to bring this to my attention on several occasions. To me, and just bear with me for a second. To me, this reminds me, I used to date a guy that had a ton of money. And anytime we would get in an argument or there was a problem, instead of him sitting down and addressing it, he would give me a credit card or give me something and say, oh, just go buy yourself something. He would never, ever actually address the problem. That has always been my problem with Michael Jordan. Yes, he's done a lot of charitable things, but he's never used the power of his voice to actually benefit social change. And I think we've seen that aside from what LeBron has done with money and giving back and building schools and sending kids to college and things of that nature, his voice has been so instrumental in pushing the needle. And Michael Jordan could have started that. He could have been the antithesis of that, especially at that time in the 90s, where it was real bad for us out here in these streets, and people were literally dying over his shoes, and he said nothing. And that, to me, is always going to be a sore spot for me, because he's never used his voice. I see you on the money. The money is great, but you have yet to understand the power of your voice, and that is always going to be a problem with me.
I think it's what I said with the love language. I just think people have different ways of showing they care and showing their, you know, whatever. Like, not everybody has a gift that LeBron James has been given to be a guy that feels comfortable voicing his whatever and doing this, that, and the third. I just don't think everybody has that. And I don't think there's anything like necessarily wrong with it. Like, everybody has a different thing that we have to do. We're all different people. And I think Michael Jordan, I don't think, has been adding to like this terrible problem. I don't think he's been like a racist owner and not included black people in his stuff, or done this, that, and the third. And I think he's trying to do what he knows best to do. And he hasn't necessarily been like this naturally, like, his parents weren't even like that, like, oh, come hug mama and come. They were just kind of more stern, and this is what you do, and this is how we get things done, and we're very logical people, and that's just how we do stuff. And I think he just kind of grew up like that and just became that. But I think it's dope that he has been doing a lot of cool stuff, and I hope athletes continue to do that, because I think it's a great, you know, we talk a lot, not on this channel, but me and my friends talk about Jeff Bezos a lot with Amazon, and how he doesn't give any money to anybody, and he's just like this terrible guy, yet he's by far the richest person in the world. And he could honestly give, they said the other day, he could give all his employees $100,000 for Christmas, and he would still be the richest man in the world. You know, like, some people are just not giving it all. So to be like giving and be a good person in that aspect, like, kudos to you, MJ. And some people said he's more focused on basketball, not politics. And that's just some people. I get it. And I love you still, MJ. And thanks for my shoes.
Maybe that's the real reason Britt loves MJ. She gets the shoes.
Right. PM LeBron and see if I can get some shoes.
I don't got to wait in line. MJ sent them to me for free, so, you know.
There it is. There it is.
It's because he knows I support him and I love him so much, and he's always been my goat. And then he probably saw the fumble, and he's like, let me start sending her some free shoes. And, you know, just going to take it.
That's hilarious. That's her story, and she's sticking to it.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, if that's how it works, then you definitely need some LeBron shoes.
I should have a whole closet full of shoes.
A mug that actually faces the right way.
Speaking of Jeff Bezos, don't buy LeBron mugs from Amazon, because this is the bootleg. You can't even see it on the side. You see what I'm saying? The bootleg hell is happening right here.
All right, you guys. Well, let's wrap up our show for the day. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as usual. So subscribe, tap the bell so you know exactly when we're going live. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Wash your hands. Wear a mask so that your mom doesn't have to type a 600-word essay for you on social media. And we'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Enjoy your Taco Tuesday!